For our second tournament test, my army is very much the same as the last time. The only real differences are I dropped a swooping hawk, I swapped out the star cannons on the 3 warwalkers for missile launchers, and I added a third Viper because everyone knows how incredibly point valuable Vipers are.
So my list is quite similar to what we played in our last game, but there are a couple changes. First, I removed the 5-man squad of Wraithguard, and in its place, I included a squad of Warp Spiders, with an Exarch, the standard twin Death Spinners and Power Blades, and a Farseer with Fortune. To make room for that, I had to downgrade my Eldar missile launcher in the Guardian squad to a scatter laser, but otherwise my list is unchanged.
Here's our deployment. We are doing the second mission in the group of Nova missions, and the focus on this one is objectives, followed by kill points, followed by table quarters. I won first turn, but Clay gets to attempt to steal the initiative.
Which I will do now. I did not.
Not a lot happened this turn. Mostly I just shifted my forces a little bit. I moved the Shining Spears over. I brought a couple units up and brought my jet bikes over. And I managed to put 2 wounds on a Wraith Lord, and in addition to that, I killed off 1 Dire Avenger. While I didn't do much damage, I didn't expect to this turn, but I did get a couple wounds on a Wraith Lord, which normally I've been waiting until late game to hurt them, so I'm hoping that helps me out a little bit.
At the bottom of the first turn, I moved my entire force forward, managed to take out a Viper, a Warwalker, and I immobilized another Warwalker. With just about the only 2 units I can fire really at range, my Night Spinner and my ranged Wraith Lord. Scatter Laser got some good hits against the Warwalkers, but the cover save saved them from any damage. And that is the end.
For my second turn, I managed to use Shuriken cannons to finish off the Wraith Lord that had the heavy weapons on it, and between my missile launchers on the Warwalkers and the Falcon, I managed to take out the Sword Wraith Lord. So I'm doing a bit better on that front this game than I was in our prior game. Alternatively, I still have to figure out a way to deal with the Avatar. I moved my Vipers forward and managed to do 0 wounds to the Dire Avenger unit, firing the Twin Link Shuriken catapults and the 2 Shuriken cannons. Even Twin Linked wasn't able to help me on the shooting for that unit. They have been punishing me for simply taking them. And my bikes, the Shining Spears, just hop back to get that 4-and-up cover save from moving fast. And
right,
that's
so
pretty
I've
much where I
now
am.
immobilized both the Warwalkers. So the squad's immobilized. One of the Vipers is immobilized, and I assume it's the one that's also missing the Shuriken cannon.
Yep.
The other one, however, cannot shoot. The Falcon cannot shoot ×5. And I killed one of the jet bikers while the rest of the squad is under the effect of my Night Spinner, so they're going to need to make dangerous terrain tests if they move again.
Warp jump.
Oh, and my Warp Spiders managed to come on in deep striking. They were the ones that targeted the Falcon. I did the assault move with them. Unfortunately, I rolled doubles. I rolled a 4. So I lost one of them, and they moved less than I would have liked. So we'll see where that takes them at the top.
Clay had stunned a lot of my stuff last turn, so I didn't have as much available shooting as I would have liked on some units, but I used both jet bike squads and the Guardians and the Wave Serpent all to take out the Warp Spider unit, and it required every single one of those units to finally kill him off. I think it was, 9 armor saves he passed before he failed?
Yes.
For the Exarch. something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. The missile launchers on the Warwalkers did nothing to the Avatar. They hit him once, wounded him once, but he made his save. The Swooping Hawks finally came in, but they botched their landing. They rolled off the table, and we rolled up on the deep strike mishap. Clay got to place them. He placed them in difficult terrain, and of course the only one that died was the Exarch, because that happens all the time. And I managed to kill off a total of 3 Dire Avengers this round, but they are fearless. So between shooting and the bombs, that's what they did. And just not a whole lot going on, just because I had to focus everything on the Warp Spiders. So hopefully we can shake some things up in the next turn.
A fairly conservative game still. I managed to use my Night Spinner to decimate the Guardian squad that disembarked the previous turn. Took out 7 of them, and now they and the Wave Serpent are under the effects of the Night Spinner's web. And for 2 turns in a row now, I've made the erroneous decision to try and target the Night Spinner with my Wraithguard squad. Last turn only 1 was in range, now 2 were in range, but I've managed to only prevent it from shooting next turn. The Viper also cannot shoot next turn thanks to my scatter laser on the Guardian squad. I wiped out the Swooping Hawks that were dropped out in front of the rest of my force, and that is the conclusion of the turn.
For the end of the top of turn 4, all I did was I regrouped my units right here in a big castle with Clay's Wraithguard unit sort of swarming down on them. And I managed to stop the Night Spinner from shooting. I got 1 penetrating shot through with all my hits and rolled a 1 on it. And that's pretty much the way Clay's game has been going against the vehicles as well. So we're both pretty ineffectual against vehicles today. And that's
Bottom
really
of
all I
turn
did.
4, mostly maneuvering round for me as it was for Dan. The one move I did manage to make offensively was I rammed his Falcon with my Night Spinner, which couldn't shoot this turn. Each of us took a Strength 10 hit, and he managed to duff his while I managed to destroy his Pulse Laser. Meanwhile, my Scatter Laser failed to inflict any damage on the Viper, and I moved my forces up. I'm working on claiming objectives now. My Wraithguard took a step back to consolidate over the objective on my side, and those are the remaining units I have.
We are at the top of turn 5. My inability to kill Exarchs continues to haunt me. Here you can see the big melee that was started. The Shining Spears haven't yet joined it. They did turbo boost to get in position to do that. Outside of that, I actually lost this combat because with rerollable 3 and ups, I managed to fail 3 out of 4 saves. Here the Viper managed to kill off 2 Dire Avengers after the missile launchers from the Warwalkers had finished off the rest of the squad. And then, as you can see in the back, the Falcon moved, took a shot with the Bright Lance, and managed to immobilize the Night Spinner.
Bottom of turn 5, breakthrough. I managed to wipe out the fleeing jet bike squad in combat as they failed their morale check by a margin of 1 wound. My Avatar is swinging around towards the middle. I still have my Exarch in the center, on the center objective. The Viper can no longer shoot once again. Or move and shoot, actually. Yeah, they can no longer move and shoot. And meanwhile, on the other side of the board, my Night Spinner launched a barrage across, took out 1 of the Shining Spears, and my Wraithguard are advancing on a further objective. They shot at the Falcon while passing by and managed to destroy the Bright Lance and make sure it cannot shoot next turn. Beyond that, things are coming to a head, and we'll see what happens in turn 6.
Well, I'm still a firm believer that leadership matters in this game. Unfortunately, it pretty much only matters to the Eldar army, because we're the only ones who don't have a way around it. So that loss of my jet bike squad last turn really entirely crippled the plan that I had. In fact, it really wrecked the numbers that I would have been able to foster for this. In addition, my Shining Spear squad completely duffed the assault. They only managed 3 wounds out of all their attacks. And that goes from the ground floor up. The Autark was horrible, and the rest of the squad too. The Warwalkers managed to hit absolutely nothing with their 4 shots, even though they were shooting at a 20-foot tall flaming demon. I don't know how you can't see him, but judging by their rolls, they both went blind. And that's pretty much it. I just moved the Falcon in to contest in case this turn ends.
This is the bottom of turn 6. I managed to immobilize the Falcon next to the objective with my Guardians. I moved to claim another objective with my Wraith Guard over there. I still have the Exarch in the center, and Dan's jet bikes withdrew after a drawn combat to charge next turn if we have another turn. In which case we'll be rolling the dice now.
1. The game ends.
The game is over.
You take it.
Good game.
Yeah.
Well, another round down, and now it's split one way each. I would say that doing objectives primarily, now that we were both fighting for the same objectives, in the first game that we played, the kill points were the primary objective. I totally forgot that. I thought we were playing with objectives. But now we've got a lot of objectives on the table, actually.
We've got 5 objectives that we're really playing over, and for the end of the game, not being able to kill the Exarch was once again a big problem for me. You roll awesome for their armor, because I do a ton of wounds on them.
Well, you only did 2 wounds on that Exarch.
Yeah, after 9 on the Warp Spider Exarch.
Yeah, that was pretty insane.
So, you roll pretty well for their armor saves. But the thing that really cost me more than anything was that jet bike squad. Mainly because when they broke, I only wanted them to hold up your Wraith Guard for 1 whole turn. And they did horrible in combat the first round, which I didn't expect them to do much.
Yeah.
I just wanted them to not get beaten so badly. And failing those three saves with a reroll thinned out the group just too much. And then the next turn, I took so many wounds, and I made all my saves except for 1, and that one was enough to have me get toasted in combat. And even if you hadn't run me down, I wouldn't have been able to regroup at that point because I was under 50%.
Oh, that's true, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it seems like the rule of thumb is don't charge the Wraith Guard until they're below half strength, because last game when you charged in against them when they were down to 4 men and their Spirit Seer, they got annihilated.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's not just how many ever are left; it's how many attacks they can make back, and just a couple attacks really make a difference for them.
Yeah.
So.
And I did horrible with the Shining Spears on the assault. I was hoping that with the other unit involved in there, I could get a couple seer wounds that would make you force some saves.
Yeah.
And then they could move in there and just do some real damage, and they didn't do any damage. They killed, 3 guys on the charge?
Yeah, 3 guys on the charge.
17 strength 6 power weapon attacks. That was just pretty sad.
Yeah, that's true.
But my idea behind it was that if I could kill off that Wraith Guard squad, I could use the jet bikes to capture one objective, use my Guardians to capture another, and then just contest. And that was really my plan. And once that Guardian jet bike unit died, I was pretty done. I was thinking I would probably drop the Guardians out from the Wave Serpent, move the Wave Serpent over to try and kill him with shots from that, and have the Warwalkers just shoot at the Night Spinner, which they could still see, but
yeah, they could see it. So
as long as I could stop it from shooting, you couldn't take out those Guardians.
That might have worked.
Yeah, that was my whole plan, and it's I would have needed one more turn and to have been lucky. 'Cause
Yeah.
also, I couldn't have had you destroy the Falcon, which the holo fields once again kept the thing alive for God knows how long.
Yeah, it definitely gave it an extra life, as it were. But which unfortunately I've never really been able to fit Falcons in these days with holo fields for their point cost.
Yeah.
But that definitely helped out. The way that this game played out, I knew you were going to be at a disadvantage because of the troop choices that we had. Objectives makes it a lot tougher. That was actually surprisingly in the previous tournaments. It's been Mila's strength as opposed to just kill points. It wasn't even so much taking and holding objectives. The only problem is I was expecting the scramble in the end that usually happens.
Yeah.
But it wasn't quite enough, I guess.
You moved a lot slower across the board than I expected you to.
Well, I tried a different approach. Usually, I just throw my army across the board, but with the maneuverability, the movement that you had, usually my soft bodies are left behind and they get picked off by, say, the Falcon, or the Warwalkers, or the Vipers, or just about anything except for the Warwalkers. They were really the only slow moving unit you had.
Yeah.
So I just grouped together, bided my time, and that seemed to work out well enough because the objectives weren't exactly far away from each other.
Yeah. Over the first half of the game, the Warwalkers were actually pretty good.
Oh, they were really good.
The second half, I just couldn't hit anything.
Yeah.
And they did so much damage, and I was actually, it was kill points was the second.
I knew I was going to be in trouble because you had me on kill points.
Yeah, because I only had 2.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the game, I'm looking and I was like,
actually.
did I have 3? What
You
was
got
third?
the warp spiders too.
Oh, the warp spiders. So I had 3. And I'm looking and I'm like, Clay hasn't actually wiped out a unit yet.
Yeah.
And that really surprised me. So I was okay playing with the draw, playing for the draw on the first objective. Because that's what I changed my game around to at one point. Just playing for the draw because I knew I was ahead on kill points and I thought I could get that Wraithguard squad as a 4th kill point to kind of settle things, and I was hoping I could get the Night Spirit because I never got around to.
Yeah. I was definitely, I was banking on the Wraithguard survive. I was confident that they were going to survive, mainly because I had the Farseer in there, and everyone, you specifically always tell me, bring a Farseer. Bring a Farseer.
God,
they
makes
really
them so tough
make
to
them
kill.
tough to kill. Yeah, I mean, I have enough trouble killing your Seers with their 4-up rerolls,
Yeah.
but that gives my squad 3-up rerolls, and so I was expecting them to survive. I didn't think I'd need to send my Avatar over there. It looks like it was right, but I was a little concerned towards the end because I'm down at that 4-man mark that really worries me. When I'm down below half strength with a Wraithguard squad, they really don't have enough hits in close combat to really make a difference other than just surviving.
Well, your Avatar was well used because he was close enough to sort of stretch his leadership, but he really kept my Shining Spears away from this part of the field.
Yeah.
And I just, every time I hit him, I think I only did 1 wound on him with all the things I
You
shot
didn't
at
do
him.
well. Yeah, that's
And
right. You only shot at him 1 turn with a couple of units. No, 2 turns. You shot at him twice with the Warwalkers and once with the Vipers.
Yeah.
So I mean there were just too many other targets.
Yeah, and I took out the big guys early, which I thought I needed to do.
That really gave you a fighting chance.
Yeah. And after that, it was just not being able to kill the Avatar. He was such a threat over here that I couldn't charge him with my Shining Spears.
Yeah.
Probably didn't hear that at all. And the Night Spinner did a great job. He didn't pin anyone, but he got extra wounds through the dangerous terrain against the jet bikes.
That was important.
He did absolutely crushing job against my assault squad.
Yeah.
They had no chance against it.
Yeah.
So it really did a number. And then it rammed. It ran with it, and it worked, and I duffed my roll back.
Yeah, that was probably the first time I've actually successfully rammed something and accomplished an objective with it. Usually I ram as more of a feudal jester of reprisal against Dan because he's constantly tank shocking, ramming, that sort of thing, and it always seems to work against me. It always saves the day. I've never had it work for me before until now, which, well, it wasn't crucial, but at that point I didn't really have much left to do with my Night Spinner.
Yeah, well, it may have saved it. I mean, you still got to
that's
fire
true.
off for 2 rounds afterwards, and I didn't have the pulse laser to shoot at it for that one turn. I really had it at its rear armor where I
That's
could
true.
shoot. So you may in fact have saved yourself with it and reduced the damage I could do to the Avatar with heavy weapons.
Yeah. All in all, it was a pretty tough game, but
Yeah.
I would say the Avatar is probably the most important. It really functioned as an HQ in this game.
Yeah.
Other than that definitely supported the left flank, and on the right flank, honestly, my Wraithguard squad survived,
Yeah.
and that's the best I could have hoped
Yeah.
for him. So that really made the difference in the game for me.
What's your unit of the match?
It's a toss up between the two. I would have to go with the Wraithguard and the Farsi
Farseers.
attached
Yeah.
because they held that right flank for the entire game against the bulk of your army.
Yeah. Well, I'm hesitant to give any one unit of the match in my own army because most of them vastly underperformed. I'd have to go with the Warwalkers. Because
Definitely.
the damage they did against your Wraith Lords, even though you made all your saves in that first shooting phase after they had such a good,
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, honestly, that's probably the most cost-effective loadout for them, and that puts out a lot of damage. I was very afraid to move any of my soft bodies forward to claim objectives early on. That was why I wasn't aggressive.
Yeah.
Because I knew if you rained 6 plasma missiles down on me, unless I was in cover, I would have been either the Dire Avengers or the Guardian Squad would have been annihilated.
Yeah. And I think really no matter who I face in this scenario, I'm going to have a hard time just claiming more objectives than the other person. I'm pretty much going to have to play for the draw the whole game
Yeah.
and try and use kill points as the deciding factor. And it means I'm going to have to play a lot more, even more defensive and sort of play hide and go seek more than I did this game.
Yeah. I mean, and if it comes down to it, with quarters, you can do pretty well too, though. So I think
Yeah, with
you can.
table quarters, but that's the third one. I mean, it's hard to bank on that against.
Well, I mean, if, for instance, in the kill point mission.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, I think you can remain competitive even if you do have a weakness on objectives.
Yeah. I think, having a strength towards 2 out of 3 isn't too bad. You're kind of the same way, actually. You have a strength towards this, and you'll have a strength towards table quarters with your units being as pricey as they are.
Yeah.
Those Wraithguard can easily hold down a quarter. It's
Definitely.
hard at the end of the game to have a unit worth the 400 points that you have sitting in someone else's table
true.
quarter. So, all right. Do you want to try the third one?
Sure.
All right.
Why not?
Let's try the third one.